And welcome to our June council meeting. Let's see. First item on the agenda is apologies. Sandra?
We have apologies from Councillor Peter Thomas, Councillor Tony Redding, Councillor John Kelly, Councillor Jenny Byrne, and Councillor Bert Jackson. The last two are both being called for unitary meeting.
Thank you. Item 2 on the agenda is the declaration of interest. To receive declarations of disposable pecuniary interests and other interests and the nature of those interests relating to items on the agenda. Has anybody got anything that they wish to declare? Sorry, Councillor Whiting.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to declare an interest in item 14, the letter from the Cricket Club, due to family connections to the Cricket Club. So I shall sit back and not take part in the meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Whiting. Can everybody hear me, or do I need to speak a bit louder? Can you hear okay? Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda are minutes to approve and sign as a correct record the minutes of the meeting held on the 25th of May, which is on pages 1 to 7 in your agenda pack. Thank you. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Brown. Oh, sorry. Could you show my letter hand that you all agree? Thank you. That's on a separate page, so I'll just have to do that. Some of it down here as well.
Yeah.
Item 4 is the public forum to allow any member of the public to address the meeting for a period of no longer than 3 minutes each. If the item raised by the member of the public is not on the agenda, the clerk will advise how the issue will be addressed. No decisions can be made under this item. Have we got a member of public wishing to speak?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
As you know, I've come on behalf of the Cricket Club, Wrestling High, I'm the chair of the Cricket Club. I've been for 4 or 5 years now. The Cricket Club, you'll be aware, and you've had a letter. I'm not going to repeat what I put into the letter because I don't think that's going to be helpful. But if I can perhaps give you an update that subsequent to writing that letter, I can tell you that successfully, with the assistance of the community and some other businesses within the community, we have raised in excess of £2,000. On top of that, the round table have got involved and they want to also donate a defibrillator with case, and they specifically want theirs to go on the High Rec ground in conjunction with the Cricket Club. I have to say, we are aware that we operate in Rushden and Higher, and I'm aware that now we have an excess of funds from what we set out to do. In a bid that we disperse those funds accurately and for the purposes that they were intended, we looked at all sports clubs in both Rushden and Higher, football, cricket, rugby, the lot. They all have them. Then we looked at schools. The main schools all have them. If we're talking about secondary school, Henry Chicheley College School further out didn't have one, and they utilised their sport facilities for the use of the community that had scouting groups, and that seemed, as far as the cricket club are concerned, a suitable venue for us to donate another defibrillator with placement there. The application really, the letter and asking permission from the council is for us to place one in situ for the community use. The cricket was very anxious that we're not squirreling away something that's purely for the use of the cricket club, only to be used seasonally. These pieces of equipment, we all know, are vital for every member of the community, whatever your age bracket may be, and whether you're sporting or whether you're not. In terms of placing the defibrillator down there, we understand that monies are tight for council, so it's not, we're not asking for funds to either purchase it, to install it, for the casing, and although there will be a maintenance charge from time to time, the cricket club themselves are prepared to undertake the costs of the maintenance of that particular defibrillator for the benefit of the community. That's what I'm saying on behalf of the cricket club. Personally, I would like to say that we're aware that these defibrillators should be placed at 100 to 200 metres. Ideally, says the British Heart Foundation. I would urge this council to push where they can at the wider council. Where housing developments are being considered or conglomeration of houses, why are they not making a stipulation that defibs will be placed in those areas? Equally, I would urge this particular council to work with the community. There is a wealth of support from the community. In fact, certain businesses phone me to offer me more money, and I said, can you please hold, because I don't know what the status is going to be about being able to place them in the community at the moment. So, if I'm out of time, please tell Madam. So I asked,
Sorry, after 3 minutes, can you just wind up?
Yes. Beyond that, of course, it's important that people are familiar with the use of the equipment. And to those ends, we have sourced somebody who has a training defib. We intend to run a day down at Hyam to show people the basics of CPR. There are 8 resuscitators available from Bristol Academy School and a training defib, which they are kindly going to contribute and get involved with. Unless I can assist them further.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Does the gentleman wish to speak as well? Do you wish to speak as well?
No, nothing more. I am a fine resident playing cricket on the wrong side of the
Item 5 on the agenda is mayor's announcements. On June the 1st, Councillor Gardner, Councillor Whiting and myself welcomed the retiring councillors Derek Lawson, Sheila Mantle and David Hamlin to the council chamber for a socially distanced celebration. I presented each of them with a town plaque and thanked them for all of their hard work on the council and for their commitment to the residents of Hyam Ferris. On June the 10th, I was pleased to officially open the refurbished Co-op store. The shop was missed by many of our residents during its closure. It's a great asset to our high street. Thank you. Item 6 on the agenda is the Town Clerk's report, which is on page 8 in your agenda pack. Sandra, would you like to make any comments on?
No, I've got nothing to add to my report.
Thank you. Has anybody got any questions for Sandra on her report? Sorry, Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Madam. Obviously, the numbers are disappointing again. Just wondering, how the clients have been reported, what percentage are being sold? And obviously, we're paying quite a bit for CCTV in line. Are any of these taking place under recovery of CCTV? Is that being forwarded to the police when you want to help?
I mean, some of them on the Plainfield Arm, we do work very closely with the CCTV and we've had some success with that. The issue with CCTV, we can have pictures of use on the playing field, but we need to identify them. And so we work closely with the police to try and identify some of the use, but they are good at providing evidence and they've certainly been used in the past in terms of arson. They are using
collating some of the data for drugs, and I know certainly with some of the issues we were having using Rushden coming over, they were known to the police and they have been followed up as well. In terms of the high street, there's only 4 cameras at different points along the high street, so they come in more when they've had issues such as lost children or crimes going on, because they can track them along the high street. In terms of the sold, if you go onto that street check item, it does for each crime. You can have a look at what's actually happening very much in brief. But that, I would say, that's probably been one of the issues with the council, that we don't get as much feedback as we would like from the police on crimes that are solved. But I know Councillor Gardner will be speaking and council reports, because she obviously goes around the PCSO on a regular basis.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Simon.
Thank you. I'd like to see, because some of us are relatively new to the council, we'd like to see, is there a way of tracking these crimes so we can see if there's any trends one way or the other? And certainly if they can be linked to crimes solved or crimes in process of being solved, that would also be interesting as well to see.
I don't know if you've looked on there. That is the best place to look. And this is over the years. We used to years ago always get a policeman here, but the argument was from the police, and it's probably quite rightly, if they're sat here at a meeting or gathering this data, they're not out on the street catching the criminals. So it's yeah. So I mean, that is the best way. You get some very limited data on that link there, and that's the only data we can seem to manage to get.
Okay, can I just have a follow-up question? Can you provide me with all the data for the last 12 months, and I'll track them?
Out from the council, you can go to that website. You can go to that website and track the data.
I tried to look at it yesterday.
Yeah, because out of respect, I haven't got the time to produce that sort of data at the moment. I am merely a member of staff down, so if I'm doing that, I'm not doing something else.
But I just volunteered to do it. I said I'll do it.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to manage expectations. If you go to that website, that is the best source now we have of data. We need to get data from the police. And we're hoping with the extra policing we get, we might actually get another set of
I think Councillor Gardner might.
yeah.
When they under item 8 on the agenda. Councillor Pickman, do you still wish to speak?
Two questions. But we have any reports of any antisocial behaviour or any criminal activity on these new electric scooters? Because I can't believe that nothing at all. And secondly, I've noticed around the town there are several hedges now, and the one around the graveyard is one of them that is no longer within the boundary of the path. It is actually now about 6 to 8 inches over. There are several hedges around the town that are now impacting on people's ability to walk side by side down the path. And you've seen people, I've seen people with a pushchair, one of them having to walk into the street. Is there any other way that we can do that other than having to keep continuously going to street doctor? I have reported several to street doctor, and they do get it done eventually, but they're not cutting them right back further enough.
I suggest if you have an issue with anything that's over the hanging the highways and street doctor aren't doing the job, to take that up with the unitary councillors.
Right.
That is not my role really to be taking that up. The cemetery hedge I will look at, obviously that is due for a cut out of bird nesting season once you get to all, we have 2 cuts a year for cemetery hedge. So that is our responsibility. So we will look at that.
Right.
Scooters, I'm not aware without looking down it. There's very brief details on that.
Okay.
And then that is something to take up with the police directly. I mean, it looks like Councillor Gardner's probably got something to say.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Councillor Clark.
Is the annual budget coming on the second last report? Just have a question.
that comes under finance. Yeah, your finance item. The clerk's report is simply, a lot of it is about updating of perhaps like a bit like matters arising. I'll try and give a summary of the police report as I get it off the internet, and just a reminder of meetings. Really, if anybody's got any questions about town council work, that really normally comes under item 7.
So I propose that we receive and note the town clerk's report. Could I have a second, please? Thank you, councillor Paul, and all those in favour.
So,
Thank you.
miles
Item 7 is questions and opportunity for councillors to ask questions pursuant to Standing Order 9. Questions must relate to business of the town council and not to be related to items of business on the agenda. Every question shall be put and answered without discussion. Anybody got any questions? Item 8, reports of representatives to other bodies. To receive reports from councillors on meetings they have attended as representatives to other bodies. Councillor Gordon, are you going to? Because
Last night, June 28th, BCSA, Stephanie Bacon and I did our walk around Higham to try and, we try and do this twice a month. We were joined by another PCSO who was a trainee. Now, the good news for us at the moment is we have a new designated WPC, and this will mean a shift around for us here in Higham. So what will happen is that Stephanie Bacon has been covering all the way up through to Rushden, all the way up to the Melloway Park area. She is now going to be centralised and based in Higham, which is fantastic for us. The new WPC will also, when she comes online in 2.5 weeks, will be here and based in Higham, working for us. She will be our point of contact. So the new policing is trying to roll out that there will be one policing contact per town. Now, when the WPC comes online, I have already extended an invitation for her to come to full council for a meet and greet, not a grill, a meet and greet, just so she can see us and we can see her, so we can get that conversation going. Now, to cover a few points. I now walk around, as we know, we've been plagued with the antisocial behaviour. So the PCSO went into the schools, and I've got a school visit coming up as well. The school has been absolutely fantastic. The skills that have been captured by the CPD throughout the park and throughout Higham. So what happens, and this is how it works, there is a set master plan. So a couple of months ago, the master plan was all the antisocial behaviour and the racist graffiti. So that was our master plan. Everything else gets attached to that, which builds a picture. The pupils were recognised. The images were taken into the school. The school provided the names and addresses of the parents. The parents were visited by the PCSO. School letters were sent out via school, and PCSO police letters were sent out. Antisocial behaviour advice was given not only to students, but also parents from school and from the police. So the big picture and getting everyone on board singing from the same hymn sheet is working, and it's working well. Over the last 2.5 weeks, we have had no reports of antisocial behaviour down south. So this pushing to talk with the schools and everyone talking, and me pushing that anything you see and anyone in any public that comes to as a councillor say this has happened, this is antisocial behaviour, report it. We only get PCSOs, we only get WPCs if they can see we have a problem. It's as simple as that. The more flags, the more dots, the more help we're going to get. Don't ignore it, report it. Oh, I've got no catch. So, just e-scooters. The police now have, the VO have introduced their own reporting site. So if it is a, don't shake your head. I've seen it. The VO scooters have their own, and we know we're on trial. So the police are trying to get people to again report. You do not report. If you look at it and go down the street and go, oh my goodness, look at that, it's terrible, and you do nothing about it, it's going to look like we like them. The secret is you've got to do it, you have to report it, take an image if it's possible, take the number plates, and then the police can go, log on to the VO app that they have on their devices. They can see then who has issued, who has hired it, then that person can have a ban. And then if that's not effective again, it goes into the figures, the statistics they're going to use in order to keep them or disband them. I know you're super skeptical, councillor. I know you will not believe a word I say, but I have seen the aftermath of what these VO scooters have done. I have had reports from the police, everything from antisocial behaviour to drug running. It's something that they are very keen. If we do not get new information, it looks like there's something wrong with them. So again, if nobody reports it, it's going to look like they're going along swimmingly, and that's not a fact. If anybody does have any questions on any of these matters, I will be happy to answer that.
Right.
Yes. Sorry, I'm just going on to the scooters. I mean, I've had sort of on WhatsApp and the council just took photos of something being, I don't know what's happened about those, but it's feedback because they've just been left in the middle of the path. Other ones I've seen driving on the pathway, so you're driving as well, so you can't actually take a photograph as such or take a number plate, but they have taken them when they're stationary.
Yeah, it's still in proper use. So even if it's been abandoned,
Yeah.
if it's not
Well,
put
I've
in
taken
the
photographs
middle,
and I've actually WhatsApped them to the town council.
but the town council are not responsible, please,
So
to
what
give
do
the town. If you go on the video, if you go onto Google, yeah, go onto Google, put it in that what the image was, you can upload the image, where it was parked and everything else, then they can see who was the last user, and then they can go from there. It's all building that picture. It's exactly the same as the CCTV, it's building the picture.
So there's a VO website.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Councillor Howard.
PCSO and the PCMO staff, are they going to be working the sensible hours we need them to work, as in the afternoons and evenings? Are they going to be about one week, or will they be doing shifts?
No, the PCSO I was with last night, she started at 4, they went all the way to 2 in the morning, and there was 2 of them on shift. We actually met the ambulance as well that was stationed at the sports pavilion, and they were saying to us, you know, how coordinating they're doing and different times they're doing. So that is the new policing that they want to introduce is not going to be 9 till 3. It's not going to be when nothing happens. It's going to be starting at 6, and then the next shift, so you're finishing at 2, 3 in the morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item 9 on the agenda is to reports from the unitary councillors to receive written reports from the North Northamptonshire unitary councillors. We've all got one on our desk that we had emailed to us before. Unfortunately, none of the councillors are here to answer any questions because they're at a meeting. So if you have any questions about it, could you ask them directly? The email addresses are on there. So can I propose that we receive the report? Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Gardner, and all those in favour? Thank you. Item 10 on the agenda is finance, and 10.1 to approve accounts for payment as the 29th of June 2021, which is on page 9. Sorry.
So I ask one question on the,
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, on one of the items, hanging baskets, town hall, £450. Now there's 5, is it 5 hanging baskets in the town hall, is it more than 5?
I think it's 5, but that bill is for just over a year.
So that's over a year.
Yeah, that's every year.
Okay, so it's a whole year, not just recently.
Yeah, May 2020 to August 2021.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Right. Councillor McCann.
Thank you for that. On page 2, is there a chance we can have a breakdown of item 260 and 270, which are the cost of the public conveniences and the public facilities? Obviously, there's just a figure out.
On the detailed budget,
Yeah.
I can circulate you the full budget. The reason you get a summary budget is because I was asked by the previous council to circulate a summary budget rather than a full one, because
Yeah, it's just that they're quite large sums.
yeah,
That's the reason why I don't know this.
yeah, I can certainly circulate the detailed budget too.
Could I have a proposal to approve the accounts, please? Councillor Brigmore, a seconder, please. Councillor Vaughan, all those in favour, would you please show of hands? Thank you. And 10.2 is to approve the bank account reconciliations as of the 30th of April 2021 and the 31st of May 2021. Councillor Whiting.
Yes, Madam Chair, I can say that I've checked it, and it's, as usual, it's correct. So, it's,
Right, thank you. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Brown. All those in favour, would you please show of hands? Right, thank you. And 10.3 is to receive and note the budgets report as at the 31st of May 2021, which is on pages 10 to 14 in your agenda pack. Right. Could I have a proposal that we received and note, please? Thank you, Councillor Gardner. Seconded by Councillor Salmon. And all those in favour, would you please show hands? Thank you. Right. Item 11 in the agenda pack is committee meetings to receive and adopt the minutes of the following advisory committees. And 11.1 is the Planning and Development Advisory Committee, which was held on the 15th of June 2021, and it's on pages 15 to 18. And Councillor Paul, you're going to pose these.
Planning and Development meeting held on the 15th of June. Can I have a proposal to these minutes of receipt, please? Councillor Gardner, thank you. Sorry, I've done this before, so we read these out, literally.
No, just, you can ask if there's any questions, and then if not, just move on to move in.
Okay, so I hope that everyone's had a chance to review all the minutes of the meeting. Are there any questions on anything on the committee notes?
Planning report 21001414 FUL for houses down Prospect Lane. I understand this came to us last year, and we had a meeting with the people who were going to build these houses. And the Brixton Town Council was actually all in favour of it. Seems to me now that they're against it. Do we know why they have decided to go against the proposal that's being built?
It was a pre-planning consultation before. This is the actual planning application. I wasn't aware Ashton were in favour of it. I thought they were against it at the time.
I'll be talking to Dublin Town Councillors, they were going to go for it at one point, because they didn't see actually no problem. My big problem is Prospect Avenue. One, when we're actually going to build the houses, there's cars parked on both sides of it, and you ain't going to get lorries down there. My concern was that at one point when they're going to start building.
Point of order, Councillor Crick.
Yeah, so, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so,
Okay, and for the same objections,
yeah.
committee found in the same items you just highlighted there. So that was the decision based on that particular application. Is there any other questions on any of the other applications and the outcomes will be decided as a committee? No? I don't
Propose they're
accept it.
adopted. Adopted.
I know that these notes of meeting be adopted. Well, President, Councillor Gardner, second note. Councillor Levy,
All those in
all those in
favour?
favour?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Item 11.2, a Policy and Resources Committee held on the 22nd of June 2021, which is on pages 19 to 22 in your agenda pack. I vote that we receive the minutes of the Policy and Resources Committee. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Brown. All those in favour? Right, thank you. I'll take you down to item 7 on the agenda is a review of the policies. We would recommend that the coronavirus be added to the list of diseases in the health and safety policy, and in the disciplinary and grievance procedure to be reviewed with a target date of a draft to be agreed by full council in September 2021, and then that the following policies listed are reviewed without change. They are as listed on your agenda. I propose that we review the policies as stated. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Gardner, and all those in favour, would you please show hands? Right, thank you. And we'll take you down to item 13 on the Policy and Resources agenda, which are the feeder pillars. That 2 feeder pillars for additional electrical supply be installed in the Market Square within a budget of £7,000 to be funded from the High Ferris Improvement Reserve. Councillor Spencer.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Do we know what these are actually going to be used for?
Yes, they are where outdoor things can access electricity. So, for instance, it could be used for the farmers market. It could be used for the sparkle, or it could be used for Remembrance Day, or any other outdoor activity that goes on in the Market Square. So, any other questions? Thank you. I propose adoption of the minutes of the Policy and Resources Committee held on June the 20th. Sorry? Oh, on that one in particular?
Yeah, we haven't voted on that one.
Oh, right, sorry. Right, so yes, can we just vote on the feeder pillars? Right. Councillor,
Yes, I propose.
you propose it. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Brown, and all those in favour, would you please show hands? Thank you. Right, sorry. Now I propose adoption of the minutes of the Policy and Resources Committee held on June the 22nd, 2021. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Paul, all those in favour, would you please show hands? Right, thank you. Right, item 12 on the agenda is to review the time of extension of the clerk's delegated powers, to extend the time of delegated powers given to the clerk as a response to the COVID-19 outbreak, with a review date of September 2021. This is on pages 23 to 32 in your agenda pack. Has anybody got any comments they wish to make about this? Councillor Craigmore.
To the clerk, there's a welcome back fund proposal list draft 2. Currently, it's proposing that we're going to be paying professional consultants somewhere in the region of 170,000 quid. And the total budget is £392,000. Where's the money coming from? Exactly.
This is the proposal for the whole of North Northants, not just for us.
Right.
It's North Northants who put in this bid for government, and as a sort of as the 6 towns, we've been obviously put into this event. This is an opportunity for us to have some of this money come to Highland for different things, such as like well, we've already had the money for the town app shopping, but to do with promotional leaflets, flyers, marketing, general sort of support for the towns. And these are very fast moving things. I get emailed, sometimes I'm given about 3 days to submit ideas and things. And we put ideas in and then we just got to just grab it. Just to grab the money what's there and then we can see how we can use it. It might just help with a bit more support from where we can do with the Thornycroft, because I did put in a bid which the leader was aware of to employ it.
15,000 quid to employ
But that I think they see it better as having some sort of consultant that can cover more than just hire to do that.
170,000 quid.
Yeah. But these are being put together by Northumberland and the government is throwing money at it. So
What kind of finances the town council or the town receives so far for this trip? Do we have any figures of that?
not on the current, I haven't gone to hand, no. But we've had things that we money for, well, we've had the app, we've had the hand sanitisers, they've covered things like the bollard covers, posters, we've had, that sort of thing.
Right, okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Can I propose then that we extend the time of the delegated powers given to the clerk as a response to the COVID-19 outbreak with a review date in September 2021? The seconder, please, Councillor Spencer, and all those in favour. Thank you. Item 13 on the agenda is the co-option of a councillor. To co-opt a councillor to fill one vacancy, there's a copy of the applicant on pages 33 to 34. The applicant's name is Sean Kyle Prosser, who lives in Blackwell Close, High and Ferrers. We only have one candidate, so would somebody like to propose that we co-opt Councillor Prosser? Thank you, Councillor Gardner. Would somebody like to second it? Councillor Whiting, you'd like to second it? All those in favour of co-opting Mr. Prosser as a councillor? Thank you. Councillor Spencer, did you vote yes? Thank you. Okay. Right. Item 14 on the agenda is defibrillator to the pavilion. To consider the request from Rushden and High and Ferrers Cricket Club to locate a defibrillator to the pavilion, which is on page 35 to 36 of your agenda pack. Has anybody got any comments they'd like to make? We have got a letter in our agenda packs from, I think, from the cricket club. Anybody got any comments that they wish to make? Councillor Gardner.
So that not only is this a fantastic idea, it's much needed, and we should support this absolutely wholeheartedly. So if nobody has anything to add, I would like to make this a firm and fast proposal. Thank you, that we accept.
Would you like to second it? Thank you. All those in favour, please show of hands. Thank you very much. Thank you. Item 15 on the agenda is the churchyard planting. Consider a request from Friends of St Mary's to undertake tree planting on the churchyard. Sorry, in the churchyard. This is on page 37 to 42 in your agenda pack. Has everybody had a chance to look at the request? Has anybody got any comments that they'd like to make? Councillor Pritchard.
If nobody's got any comments, I propose we accept.
Sorry?
If nobody's got any comments, I propose we accept that.
Did you want to make a comment on
Just a question.
a question?
Can I ask, because it is tree planting, has our tree warden gave any advice on this, or has he been asked to? Thank you.
Yeah, the tree warden had a meeting at churchyard and the recommendations that were on page.
Sorry, you can speak up.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the tree warden has been consulted, and the recommendations that are forward in the report are are based on his advice through to us.
Right.
So the recommendations are detailed on page 38, and it's actually that no trees are planted and that only shrubs to be allowed. Yeah. There's actually 3 recommendations listed individually. Yeah. Thank you.
So, do we want to adhere to the tree warden's advice? I think so, yeah. So, they recommend that no trees are planted along the northern boundary. But it is recommended that shrub planting be permitted in the identified areas with the request that it can be undertaken with care and mindful of existing tree roots. Suggested planting is blackthorn, hawthorn and cotoneaster, with any further shrub species requested for the area at the approval of the clerk in conjunction with the tree warden. So do we all agree with the proposal as it is? Councillor Pridmore?
Yes. You know, I agree with the proposal.
Sorry?
Yes, I agree with the proposal.
You agree?
as it
Yes.
is.
So you're
Yes.
seconding the proposal. All those in favour, would you please show of hands? Right, thank you. And item 16 on the agenda is pre-planning consultation for.
There was just one more
Oh, sorry.
recommendation. Right, there was just one more recommendation at the bottom with regards to the planting of the rowan tree. And again, it was suggested that that wasn't permitted.
I didn't see that listed.
Right. So, yeah, it's recommended that the request for the planting of a rowan in a position between a bead house and church not be permitted.
Right, disagree to that one. Right.
You just vote to accept the proposals, recommendations of the tree.
Sorry, councillor.
Did we not just vote to accept the proposals of the tree?
Yes.
And that's one of the proposals.
Did you want it separately, Alison?
Oh,
We
yes, I was
agreed
thinking
to-
that,
we
because you
agreed to
read-
follow the
yeah, I was
advice.
thinking that because you read the original of the first 2, but not the third, so I was just clarifying the third.
Okay. Right, so item 16 on the agenda is a pre-planning consultation for a proposed upgrade to existing radio base station at Woodley Holding Limited, Newton Road, Higham Forest. To consider a response to the pre-planning consultation from Cornerstone on behalf of Telephonic and Vodafone, it's on pages 43 to 54 in your agenda pack. They want to remove the existing 3 antennae in the installation of number 3 replacement antennae. The ancillary development thereto, including the installation of 3 remote control units, RRUs, and 1 GPS module. Has everybody had time to look at this proposal? And Councillor Spencer, you'd like to make some comment?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Me being my usual suspicious cynical self, we've read through that, and unless I've missed anything, there's nothing stating the maximum height of this. It could be that if they're replacing 3-metre antennas on the top, they could suddenly appear to be 12 metres.
Right.
It'd be nice to know if we could have confirmation of the maximum height.
Thank you. Councillor McCann.
Yes, so there is actually on one of the drawings, the same as the proposed. From my reading of it, the proposed is the same height as the existing one there. It says near the existing height of 22.9. And yeah, top of the proposed is 22.9. So what I can read, I mean, I read that on it. I said that was like a fine. So it does appear that the new one is the same size as the old one.
Okay. Anybody else wish to make a comment? Would anybody like to make a proposal? Nobody? Okay. Councillor Pridmore. Sorry, we need to
Maybe comment.
make a comment, right?
This is, just to the council on there, I'm sure most of you are, this is all about 5G. And this is to upgrade the telemasts so that when 5G pops up in the area, then this will pick up 5G and transmit 5G. The problem with 5G is that it's in line of sight only, if I'm right on that one. You've been an expert on it. Yes, yeah, I'm looking at you, Paul. Is it pure line of sight? So sooner or later, they're going to have to come back to all the town councils and look to put in 5G small cells, which we reserve. Everybody's admitted to the fact that they're going to be literally everywhere, on every lamppost in the country. I think it needs to be upgraded. My concern is, one, that it's going to be higher than it is now. Although, yeah, you're right, the plans do kind of like look at the same height, but they don't stipulate that. 5G is pure line of sight, so the higher they put the mask up, better. So, like yourself, I would like to know what the height is proposed. I would suggest that we propose that we have no comment other than the fact that the masks should be exactly the same height that they are now and no higher. And that would be my only stipulation. They're going to happen when we put them. They're already there. They necessarily don't need to replace them. All they need to do is to replace the top ones, which is what they're doing. So they're just replacing the whole thing to make it better for themselves. But that's the only proposal I would have, is to ensure that it's the same height as what's there now.
That's your proposal.
Yeah.
Yes. Could I have a second? Sorry. You're seconding it. All those in favour, would you please show of hands? Sorry, did you want?
Just echoing fellow councillors here, it's quite clear based on page 51 to page 52. The existing height is 22.9 metres on the top of the antenna, and the proposed height to the top of the antenna is 22.9 metres.
Yeah. So yeah.
So
This is a proposed
legal stipulation would enforce that.
Yes, it's a proposal rather than it will come back to us at some point.
Okay. Okay, so we have had a second. All those in favour, would you please show of hands? Thank you. Item 17 and 17.1 is the Christmas Sparkle Working Party to receive and note the minutes of the Christmas Sparkle Working Party meeting held on the 14th of June. It's on pages 55 to 57 in your agenda pack. Has anybody got anything they wish to say about that, the minutes of the meeting? Councillor
It says here you've had 27 applications so far from the school. Is there a chance we can see what kind of schools are being proposed this year? Are they going to be mainly food schools, or do we have any idea yet?
I think,
Yes, we have a list, so we can circulate that list.
but the list was presented at the meeting. Thank you. So, can I propose that we receive and note the minutes of the Christmas Sparkle Working Party? Can I have a seconder, please? All right, Councillor Gardner, and all those in favour, would you please show your hands? Thank you. And 17.2, that a Christmas tree in the Market Square form part of the Sparkle this year, and that the sponsorship be sought to meet the cost of the supply and installation of the tree. That the council agree to cover the cost if it cannot be met in full by sponsorship. Has anybody got any questions about the Christmas tree? As you know, last year was the first year for several years that we've had the Christmas tree, and it was because it was our alternative sparkle, because we couldn't have the sparkle, but it has proved so popular, and many people were saying, well, we'll be able to have that again this year. So we are hoping, as it says, to go out and get some sponsorship, but just in case we don't actually get all of the sponsorship, it's just, can we agree that we would cover the cost if it can't be met in full by the sponsorship? Councillor Paul.
I've got no problem with that proposition at all. Just want to put my hat in the ring that I'm happy to sponsor the definition as a company for the Christmas tree. So I'll chase up this one for this year.
Thank you very much, Councillor Paul. Right.
Sorry.
Councillor
Just want to.
Sorry, Councillor Salmon.
Do we know how much you agreed to spend?
Yes.
Some idea?
Yeah, the Christmas tree last year, supply and installation was £1,150.
Can I add, we actually increased the policy resources, the budget for Sparkle by £2,000, to cover that, but also because we were concerned that there might be extra health and safety costs this year. And we took that money from the budget that was allocated for budget election costs, which obviously we didn't have an election this year, so we just moved the money about. So there is money there in the budget that will cover that cost.
Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Right, thank you. So, would anybody like to propose that we will meet the cost of any difference between the sponsorship if we don't get full sponsorship? Thank you. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Brown, and all those in favour, would you please show of hands? Thank you. Item 18 on the agenda, items to report. An opportunity for councillors to report items that no decisions or discussions can be made under this item. Has anybody got anything they wish to report? Councillor O'Rourke.
Thank you very much. Yeah, whilst we're on the, whilst we're talking about Christmas sparkle and Christmas tree, I was speaking to someone today who helped the Swivel Club 2 years ago this Christmas, with organising the Christmas carols on the square on Christmas Eve. I mean, at that time it was a bit ad hoc, it was the first time, and it really went really well. And this year, looked like they want to repeat that again on December 24th, around about 6 o'clock. And especially now as we've got this Christmas tree, which will be up, it will make it even more Christmas-like. And of course, the bollards decorated with the various Christmas themes. So what we're looking at is possibly having to go to the County Council or Northampton Council to close the square on the 24th, and also maybe if it's going to get bigger and better, which we hope to do, is actually having the road closed. Another possibilities of those two are.
I think they need to put a formal proposal in along with their risk assessment, because we did get feedback that there was insufficient stewarding. So it needs to be, we need to think, and I think highways would.
Yeah, one of those didn't know how popular it was going to be, and all of a sudden it was there the evening, there was only about 30 or 40 people, and then so there was about 200 or 300 people, somebody appeared like a spaceship and on the, High Street, everybody could put where they came from. So yeah, that's.
So would you like this to be discussed at the Environment and Rec, would it be?
No, I think the Swivel Club themselves need to
Have to put it in an application.
Yeah, they need to put right into us, because we need to give permission for the Market Square initially because we own it, but also they will have to get permission from highways for the road closure and make sure they've got the relevant.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, Colin Wright did it because he was retired there.
Yeah.
But I'll speak to the club.
Yeah.
Get them to write to yourself.
Yeah, if they write to yourself about using the Market Square, but they will still need to put the application.
Okay, has anybody else got anything they wish to report? Councillor McCann.
It came through my personal email rather than but I've heard before possible sewage. I know a few years ago they were out trying to fix it. It's the pumping lane between Harnberries and Edinburgh. The one's near the back of Chichester School and the Chichester Primary School. If you do walk down the path there that separates the playing field and the A45, there's quite a large area where even in the middle of summer the ground is solid and it's rough on the route of that pumping lane. So if you have any email come through, it came from my personal one. I believe that they've reported it to Angling Water already, but they just wanted me to try and raise it, see if there's anything to do as a council. Get in contact with Angling Water to obviously take it to have a look.
I mean, you can certainly raise it down in the water. I don't have any other contacts than the member of the public would have contacted, but.
Yeah, I don't know whether it came from the council or whether more might be to look into it. I know they were there a couple of years ago trying to fix it. But apparently this area has always been stolen. And you can see when my dog's on to it, you can hear it scratching. And it shouldn't be like that.
I'll certainly report it on. I don't always, I find that sometimes with these issues, it sometimes helps if there's more than one person reports it.
Yeah.
Sometimes the council doesn't necessarily carry any more weight, but I will also speak to a former councillor because he understands some of where the water runs under that area. Because the council go to some areas where it does get wet anyway, but I agree it shouldn't necessarily be wet in the summer. Yeah, and we report it as well.
Thank you. Anybody else got anything they wish to report? In that case, it just thank you very much for attending tonight's meeting. And, I'll see you in a month's time.